Caleb got up and furiously kicked some rocks. Fine, I won't do it. I'll think of another solution then. As Natalie's tears dropped, Caleb sighed and sat down. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't cry, please. Let's talk this over. You'll just be acting, and it's only for a month, right? And are you sure he's paying you a huge amount for it? Yes, I'll just be a fake girlfriend. I'll never fall in love with that jerk, ever. Okay, fine. I'll agree on it now, but on one condition. What is it? There should be no touching. Natalie was surprised at how jealous Caleb could be. But he wants me to convince everyone that we're really dating. How can we do that if we can't even hold hands? I just realized that I sounded ridiculous. Never mind. It won't mean anything, Caleb, I swear. And I'll give you a part of the payment for your mom's expensive treatments. Nat, no. You're the one who'll work for this, not me. We promised to protect and help each other, remember? Just support me on this for a month and we'll get you some money for your mom. I support you, of course. You're mine, okay? Always. Natalie was nervous to meet Duke the next day. He was already at the cafe when she arrived. You're 7 minutes late. Now, first order of business, I need you to transfer to my school. What? Is that necessary for a month's job? Yes, it is. Don't worry, I can easily transfer you back and forth. My family has all the connections. Oh, yes. Your family rules this place. How can I forget that? Here's the contract. Read it and sign below. The contract was short and simple. It was valid for a month but could be extended if needed. And if she'd break it, she would have to pay back Duke's $50,000 debt. This jerk has pulled a checkmate on me and there's no backing out now. But I'm not gonna make it easy for him. He'll wish he wasn't stuck with me as his girlfriend. On her first day of work, she was awestruck at how big Duke's school was, and everyone was wearing clothes that looked more expensive than 1,000 cows. As she was walking towards the main building, a fancy sports car suddenly dashed into the parking lot. Natalie's jaw dropped as the driver stepped out. It was Duke, and he looked dashing. Girls started to surround him, but to everyone's surprise, Duke walked up to Natalie and put his arm around her. There you are. Did you sleep well last night? I didn't, because I couldn't stop thinking about you. Can you stop being so adorable for a second? It's killing me. Dude, who's that? This is Natalie, my girlfriend. In one corner, Duke's sister Harper was fuming. Of all the girls in the world, he chose her? I've seen that dumb peasant a few times on the farm. How can Duke be so stupid? On their way to class, Natalie suddenly pulled Duke to a corner. Why did you kiss me? What are you doing? Making things convincing? Have you read the contract that you signed? Holding hands and kisses on foreheads and cheeks are allowed. Natalie didn't take that part seriously. She wanted to ask more questions, but she remembered the rules in the contract. Don't ask personal things. Later that day, while she was putting things in her locker, Harper and her friends appeared behind her. Is it just me, or does it smell like mud in here? It definitely smells like dirt. Oh, farm girl, I didn't see you there. I'm sure you saw me, Harper. Don't get smart with me, farm girl. Just because you're my brother's girlfriend doesn't mean I need to be nice to you. But you could be nice to me just out of basic human decency, right? Or are you unfamiliar with that? Natalie started to walk away, but Harper got mad and pulled her hair. You little... What's going on here? Tell your tacky girlfriend to behave herself. And why are you dating her anyway? Did you just pick the first girl you saw on the farm or something? Mind that mouth, Harper. And what's wrong with her? She's literally perfect. You could have chosen anyone, Duke. She's nothing like us. I'd rather not spend my time listening to someone who talks about bags and 10 different shades of pink all day. Natalie is so much more interesting. Wow, he's a really good actor. But God, I'm being humiliated here. I will make sure that this Duke regrets this decision. Duke then warned everyone to be good to Natalie, including his sister and her friends, and they had no choice but to obey the king of their school. The next day, Natalie prepared embarrassing couple shirts for both of them and gave it to him during their basketball practice. Happy 200th day, my baby king! Everyone started laughing, and she thought Duke would be really annoyed. Oh, now I get it. It's because you literally worship me. I like the shirt, babe. Yeah, okay. So let's wear the shirts now? Suddenly, Duke accidentally tripped and spilled his bottle of juice over the shirts. Oh no. Too bad they've become dirty. Maybe next time, but I appreciate the gesture. Natalie felt mad, because her plan of embarrassing him had completely backfired. Maybe she needed to try harder. So later that day in the canteen, she just stared at him intensely. I can't believe I'm dating the most handsome man in the universe. Just look at his eyelashes. They have the perfect length and curl, and don't even get me started with his beautiful nostril hair. Natalie didn't care if everyone thought she was an obsessed girlfriend, as long as she was pissing Duke off. Duke is very private. So, any exclusive info? Oh, he's a screamer, especially around 8-legged living things. What? Don't be shy, Dookie. We all have our fears, right? Actually, I have a collection of spiders at home. See? Sorry, guys. She really loves to joke around sometimes. That happens when she forgets to drink her meds. You know, for her crazy problem. Natalie kicked his foot under the table. Just crazy for you, baby king. But she really went overboard a few days later when Duke was part of a school play. He was playing the role of a prince, and just when he was about to kiss his princess, Natalie screamed from the audience, "My baby king, please, don't kiss the witch! Your lips only belong to me!" Everybody stared at her in shock, including Duke. He tried to resume his acting, but forgot his lines and became embarrassed. He then turned to leave and tripped over something that sent the whole set crashing down on the princess. Oops. And right after, Duke came marching to her angrily. "What do you think you're doing? Who asked you to act like some crazy melodramatic girlfriend? You just embarrassed me in front of everybody. We've been working on this play for months, and you ruined it. What is wrong with you?" "Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't think I'd have such a strong effect on you that you'd forget your acting. I was just trying to be convincing, like you said." Don't play these stupid games with me, Natalie. I know what you're trying to do, and it's not gonna work. You agreed to be my girlfriend, and unless you have $50,000 suddenly, you'll act like a normal girlfriend or you'll go to jail. And trust me, I won't feel bad about your poor butt rotting in there for a second. You better behave. I don't need people to think I'm dating an obsessed psycho. Fine, I got it. Can you let my arm go now? He did, and she pushed him away as she left. Duke was still really mad at Natalie when he got home, but he started feeling bad for the way he'd spoken to her. And to make matters worse, he instantly had his mom breathing down his neck. "Where's this girlfriend you've been telling us about? It's been a week. Invite her for dinner tomorrow." Duke knew he and Natalie needed to bond more so things would be more natural between them, or his mom would be able to tell in a second that it was fake. He convinced his mom to give him another week and spoke to Natalie the next day. "Listen, I'm sorry for the way I spoke to you. I was just disappointed about the play, and I've got some things on my mind. But it's not a great excuse for my behavior. I'm sorry." Yeah, okay. Just don't talk to me that way again, and we're cool." "I won't, I promise. But we need to meet up after school today, so you can get to know me and my whereabouts better. Mom wants to meet you soon, and she can ask you anything." Over the next 3 days, Natalie memorized Duke's schedule. He was taking acting classes after school, and on weekends he was managing an orphanage in town. One day, as he was driving her home, Natalie found herself talking casually to him. "Duke, do you mean to pursue acting professionally? I thought you'd just take over the family business." "Yeah, acting is my dream. I'd love to be able to do that freely, but Mom wants me to build malls on farmlands, and I don't really want to do that. I'd like to be able to help farmers become more productive so they can have better lives, not take away their lands and leave them jobless." The more Natalie spent time with Duke, the more she realized that he actually had a heart of gold. She felt bad for judging him and making things difficult for him. Since then, she had become genuinely comfortable with him. He was just so good at acting, and there were times when she'd forget that it wasn't real. In school, he'd hold her hand, kiss her head, stare at her lovingly, and Caleb had never been this openly affectionate. It gave her a funny feeling in her tummy. One day, he even took her to a secret place, an abandoned house that he planned to renovate and give to one of the farmers someday on his retirement. Those weird feelings started bothering her. "No, I'm just amazed at his good qualities, but these thoughts mean nothing." After dinner at a restaurant, Duke drove Natalie back to her house, and as she stepped out of his car, she suddenly tripped. But he caught her just in time. Natalie's world stopped when she realized how close their faces were, and her heart was racing. She snapped out of it and immediately pulled away. "Sorry about that. I can be clumsy sometimes." "Only sometimes." "Excuse me?" "I said you're cute." "You just realized that now?" Duke just chuckled at her and started walking to his car. "See you around." babe. Natalie suddenly forgot how to speak. Just then, Caleb suddenly appeared from the shadows. What was that, Nat? Jeez, you startled me. What was what? I saw you and Duke. Did you forget this is just pretend? It is pretend. That didn't look fake to me. That is the point. I am paid to make it believable, remember? Natalie walked close to Caleb and took his hand. Come on, Caleb, you know how I feel about you. I love you. And how do you feel about him? Like I want to push his privileged butt on cow dung. The two of them laughed, but Natalie was still worried because Caleb kept glancing at her a bit suspiciously. Later that day, Caleb went to talk to his stepdad. Something bothering you, son? I'm scared, Dad. Nat says she hates Duke, but I can tell she likes him enough to be able to be close to him, even when there's no one around. Well, they are pretending to like each other enough to be convincing. It's just an act. I know, but still, it's Nat, and this is hard for me. Hey, none of that. Their pretend relationship is not forever. Focus on the end goal. A week later, Duke invited Natalie over for dinner with his family. As they stood in front of the door, he noticed how nervous she was, so he reached for her shaking hand and smiled. She felt a lot better instantly, and they walked in. Harper and his parents were all waiting for her in the living room, and they all looked so sophisticated and intimidating, especially Mrs. Harrison. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, darling. You're even more beautiful than the way Duke described you. I heard your mom sells root crops in the market and used to work for one of our ranches. Yes, sir. Oh gosh, I feel sorry for us the way we have such a low-class guest. Harper, behave yourself, please. Whatever. As they had their dinner, Mrs. Harrison kept asking about their love story and relationship, and their answers thankfully matched. The Harrisons were surprisingly nice, except for Harper, who kept throwing death glares at her. After their dinner, Mrs. Harrison walked up to Natalie and took her into the kitchen. I want to give you something, my dear. Sure, ma'am. When they got there, Natalie was surprised to see a knife and a lot of onions on the counter. And then suddenly, Mrs. Harrison started chopping them herself right in front of her. They say onions can give overflowing wealth and beauty. This is my gift for you, my future daughter-in-law. Please take it. Natalie started tearing up as she took the chopped onions from her. Are you crying? You look so pretty with those tears in your eyes. No, it's just because of the onions. It's okay to be emotional, darling. Let it all out. Natalie was now freaked out at Mrs. Harrison's creepy behavior. She excused herself and headed back to the living room where Duke and his dad were talking. She told them that she had to go, and Duke volunteered to walk her home. Mrs. Harrison and Harper watched them from the balcony. I don't know if you remember, but I think she's that little girl who ruined your birthday, Mom. I remember her, and that just gives me another reason to get rid of her. Did you manage to scare her away? Oh, darling, why do you think she left so early? And I've just started. The next day, Natalie went to the bleachers expecting to find Duke there, but she didn't. He had asked her to come meet her there so they could discuss the next course of action after meeting his family. She went looking for him when she heard familiar voices behind one of the school buildings. She silently walked closer and peeked around the corner. It was Duke and Caleb talking. Do we have a problem? You're getting too close with Natalie. Well, she is my girlfriend. Fake girlfriend. Remember the part where it's not real? What's your problem anyway? You told me she's just a friend. Are you interested in her? Not at all. But I still care about her and don't want her getting involved with someone like you. Okay, in that case, you can stop acting like her worried dad. I'm not interested in getting involved with her. Good, because that's not part of the plan. Neither is you cornering me and telling me unnecessary things, dude. It wasn't easy staging the whole statue thing and making sure Nat was there at the right time to take the blame for it. You owe me for that, don't you forget it. I'll pay you the exact amount after this, as promised. But I didn't ask for your opinion on how I'll be handling my plan from there. So buzz off with the attitude. Duke stormed off, and so did Caleb, while Natalie stood there reeling in shock. What? They set me up? Caleb helped me set up some deal with Duke?
Hey everyone, my name is Tiana from France. Please don't forget to like and subscribe because MSA will give $2,000 to one lucky winner in the coming 7 days. The orphanage is the only home I've ever known, and honestly, It's not as bad as most people think, but I always dreamed of having a family, a real one. I had a big heart, but sometimes I'd say mean things without thinking. Once I saw a girl called Frida and said,
"You look ugly with this lettuce stuck in your teeth. Open your mouth now so I can take it out."
but she didn't open it. So I grabbed her and made her open her mouth. I just wanted her to look pretty, but she started screaming and everyone was laughing, and the warden came and yelled at me. Since this Frida was small in size, everyone took her side. But then suddenly a girl shouted,
"Tiana didn't do anything. Frida is lying."
The warden glared at me and left. The girl came over to me and said, "Hey, my name is Hope. I'm new to the orphanage, and this Frida has already bullied me twice. So let's team up and hate her together."
You got it, girl. You have very big, scary eyes. Cool. I like you.
But my big mouth kept sending us to detention. I even once told my teacher that her hair looked like poop, and Hope defended me. And boom, detention for us both. The happiest one about this was obviously Frida, but she never dared talk to us because we were stronger than her. But one day when we were 10, she crossed a line. It was adoption day and a nice couple came in looking for a really smart girl. The warden picked me, and while we were still having the interview, Frida burst in.
Help me! I had lettuce stuck between my teeth again, and Tiana pulled my tooth this time. Look! I lost a tooth because of her. Please, do something. I can't take it anymore. God knows what else I'm gonna lose. I don't want to die here. I have dreams.
She threw herself on the floor and started to cry like a lunatic.
Why? You think because you're smarter than all of us, you're better?
Okay, Frida had been annoying for years, but this was the height of it. The nice couple was becoming uncomfortable and I had to make Frida leave. I moved closer and took her hand to lead her out, but instantly she fell to the ground and started yelling.
She pushed me.
Okay, that was it. I pushed her hard for real this time, and poof, the couple ran out. Why would you do this, you witch?
If you think you're gonna get adopted before me, think again.
I was so upset. Frida ruined my chance of having a family, and I wouldn't forgive her. One day, Hope and I were playing in our room when we got called to the warden's office. When we got there, we saw this glamorous couple and Frida. The woman was so nice and hugged all of us, but the man just kept staring at his phone. They wanted to adopt 2 of the prettiest girls, and the warden brought us. 2 girls? That meant Hope and I would get to be sisters forever. But the craziest thing happened. You all seem lovely, but I'm going to adopt Tiana and Frida. What? This couldn't be happening. What? Her? But what, dear sister? Aren't you excited? Is something wrong, honey? I don't want... But Hope spoke up instead. She is fine, ma'am. Super excited. We stepped out of the room and Hope couldn't contain her joy. You finally got a family. I'm so happy for you. I can't leave you. Everything is going to be different now. You have a family. Don't let Frida ruin your dreams again. Hope was right. So I said yes. On the day we left the orphanage, Hope and I cried till we ran out of tears. I would miss her so much. My new mom's name was Wendy. Their house looked like it belonged in fairy tales. It turned out that she was a big-time actress and her husband was a director. I was fascinated by the house and soon began to study it. Mom was happy to show me around the house, and I was excited. Frida, however, had different interests. She loved Mom's clothes and would spend hours raiding Mom's wardrobe. I always wanted a daughter to pass on my wardrobe to. Come on, Tiana. Try some clothes on too. I don't want to. Soon Mom and Frida started having mom and daughter photo shoots without me. One time they were on the cover of a big magazine. I couldn't feel too bad about it, but I still felt left out. So sometimes I made efforts to join them. One time we were having dinner with some celebrities in our home, and as always, Frida knew what to say to please everyone. Oh my, your hair is so gorgeous and your makeup is divine. Oh, Wendy, this one is just like you. Smart and beautiful. Thank you. Tiana, darling, do you like the food? Yeah, it tastes nice, but it's ugly and it looks like horse poop. I could feel everyone's eyes on me. Mom laughed and tried to distract the guests, but I knew I'd said something wrong. One person even stopped eating the food. Oh God. After that day, Mom hardly invited me to come out with them. Not that I blamed her, but Frida couldn't hide her joy at being the favorite. My new dad was never home, and when he was always locked up in his study. One day I was watching TV when I heard a loud argument from Mom's room. "You don't even try to get to know them. They are your kids. I never wanted them. This was all your idea, and I'm supposed to love these kids I just met? They're annoying, and I can't deal with this." Not long after that, a huge moving truck came to take his things away. He had left us. Mom was sad for some time, but she had me and Frida and soon returned to her cheerful self. Soon we joined school, and one day when Mom was away, Frida threw a party. I think this party is a bad idea.
Not as bad as the idea Mom had when she adopted you.
I spit at her and left. Our house was packed full and everything was so loud. I stayed in my room, and while I was reading a magazine, someone barged in. "Oh, I am so sorry. I thought this was the bathroom. Hey, is that magazine about houses and construction? My dad has a lot of them and I read them all the time. Is this the one about the skyscrapers?" "Yeah, it is." His name was Tom. We had so much in common and ended up talking all night. A while later, someone kicked down the door.
"See, Mom? I told you. Tiana planned this dumb party just so she could spend time with her boyfriend."
"Boyfriend? That's not true. And why would I throw a party? I don't have friends."
"Then who is he and why is he in your room?"
"We should be asking you. This is your party." "Mom, look at her ugly, revealing clothes. These are the clothes of wannabe bimbos throwing parties and smoking all night. Ugh, how I wish I could burn all your clothes. You disgust me." "Stop it. I'm so disappointed in you, bringing strange people in my house. And you, Mr. Boyfriend, get out and never come back."
"Told you, Mom. You shouldn't have adopted her. You're a successful actress. You need a pretty, delicate daughter like me. For your image, Mommy."
And to my shock, Mom said nothing to that. She just left. Frida had become a full-blown villain. She was always setting me up, and no matter how hard I tried, Mom always believed her because next to me, Frida looked like an ant and I was a giant. But Mom always forgave me in the end, and it drove Frida mad. And soon, she snapped. One day, I was watching TV with Mom when we heard Frida scream. We ran to her room and found her on the floor crying.
"It's all ruined. All of it."
Next to her was a pile of clothes that had been cut up and stained with mud.
"I've done everything to make Tiana love me, but look what she did to my clothes. She said she'd ruin them the other day, Mom. You heard her."
"Yeah, but I'd have burnt them, not cut them and thrown mud at them. Ain't nobody got time for that, except you." Immediately, Frida pounced on me and we got into a catfight, till Mom stepped in and separated us. "Okay, I am tired of all of this. If you both cannot live in this house in peace, then we need to change this up. I think you both need a break from each other." The next day when I got back from school, Mom had moved my things to a room all the way across the hall. I was happy to be away from Frida, but it meant I was far from Mom too. My fights with Frida stopped, but then bigger fights started between her and Mom. One day we were having dinner when Mom said, "Tiana, your teacher called. Your college aptitude test score was amazing. So proud of you, honey." "Thanks, Mom." "And Frida, what about yours?"
"Oh, I didn't write that. I figured that since I'm just gonna be an actress, I don't need it."
"You're going to be a what?"
"Just get one of your friends to cast me. It should be a movie that shows how pretty I am."
"No, I'm not doing that. I don't want that life for you. You will go to college, and when you are older, you can make better decisions."
"What? You don't get to tell me what to do. I will be an actress."
"Actually, I can tell you what to do. I am your mom."
"You adopted me just so you could be the boss of me?"
"Frida, shut up. Mom is trying to help you."
"You shut up. My life would have been better if I didn't end up with a dumb sister and a failed actress as a mom."
Before she could blink, I gave her a hard slap. "How dare you? If it wasn't for Mom, I'm sure you would have ended up working as a waitress for the rest of your life, you ungrateful brat. Apologize now." I was ready to fight her, but instead, she moved to the mantel and threw down all our pictures.
"I hate you both."
And after that, Frida got worse. She skipped school and was like a tiger ready to attack if anyone talked about it. She failed our last year in high school and wasn't going to graduate with me. What is wrong with you, Frida? I told you, I don't want to go to school anymore. Well, this is my house, and if you're under my roof, you will do as I say. Well, I guess I'll just leave your house then. Frida, stop it. But the next day, she was gone. We looked everywhere, but she just seemed to have disappeared. A few days before my graduation, I walked in on Mom crying in the living room. What's wrong, Mom? I'm a terrible mom. I think Frida was right. Your lives would have been so much better if I'd never adopted you. Oh no, don't say that. You're the best thing that happened to me. I'm sure of it. Funny how things work out, isn't it? I always favored Frida because she seemed more like me, and I found it easier to bond with her. I didn't make the effort to understand you better, and you've been nothing but amazing. I'm really sorry if I made you feel ignored. I should have tried harder. I did feel overlooked at times, and I wished we had a better bond, but I still love you, Mom. Well, let me start fixing things. Let's go get you a graduation dress. Whatever you want. On graduation day, Mom's smile was the widest in the room. I went off to college soon after and graduated top of my class to become an architect. One day after work, I stepped out of the office and noticed it was raining cats and dogs, and I had no umbrella. Just then, a man with the most beautiful smile walked up to me. Hey, do you need this? As he got closer, I realized I knew him. Tom? Oh my God, it's you. The girl with the magazines. I'm really happy to see you again. We went on a date the next day, and it wasn't long before we were in love. A year later, we got married and moved to another city, and soon I was pregnant. One night, Tom and I were sleeping when we heard a loud crash downstairs. Tom immediately ran down holding a baseball bat, with me right behind him. Who is that? Show yourself. Wait, Frida? Tiana, yes, it's me. I'm not feeling well. And she fell with a loud crash. We called an ambulance and took her to the hospital immediately. Throughout the ride, I couldn't help thinking how weak she looked. At the hospital, the doctor told us she had fainted because she hadn't eaten in days and needed rest. Where am I? You're in the hospital, but you're gonna be okay. I'm right here. I'm sorry about last night, but I didn't know where else to go. Oh, Tiana, I've really messed up. I understand why Mom didn't want me to go into acting. It's really hard, but I was foolish and ungrateful, and now I'm jobless and alone. And believe me, I've really missed you and Mom. I'm so sorry. Will you give me a second chance, please? Will you beg Mom to forgive me? She must hate me so much. It's okay. Well, you're really messed up, but everything will be fine now. Of course I forgive you, and Mom could never hate you. I'm sure she'll be really happy to see you. How is Mom?